Welcome to Build of the Week Season 10. I'm Eben from Grinding Gear Games. In this series, we showcase interesting builds created by the Path of Exile community and explore how they work. Can you recognize the signs of an electrical safety hazard? First, be wary of strangers who are engulfed in electricity every time they stand still. Do not stand near those strangers, especially if they start shocking everything nearby. And whatever you do, never make eye contact. With this raider build, creator ABCkid has found a way to apply self-shock, proliferate that shock to nearby enemies, all in order to repeatedly cast Lightning Conduit, blasting shocked enemies until crispy. So, how does this work? First, we use Relicacious Impatience to set our power, frenzy, and endurance charges to max while stationary. Then we'll equip Malachai's Loop. This nasty shield shocks us when we reach maximum power charges, so every time we start moving, we become shocked. To share the love, we drink from the Vessel of Vincta, which has a variant that spreads the shock to enemies around us. Finally, we cast Lightning Conduit. This spell calls down devastating bolts of lightning, but can only target shocked enemies. Usually the skill consumes the shock on the enemy, meaning we could only hit them one measly time. But thanks to this unusual self-shock proliferation combo, our enemies are constantly shocked, so we can keep blasting for a full 4 seconds before our self-shock runs out. What we have is a close-range, high-damage build, powerfully satisfying to play and excellent for melting bosses. Let's take a look at what elevates this character from a curiosity to a viable option. First up, power charges. It makes a lot of sense for us to invest in charges, since our boots, Relicacious Impatience, are providing them every time we stand still to cast. Power charges are especially important, since they provide critical strike chance, which is great for our damage numbers. To this end, we pick up the Militant Faith Jewel, which grants us the Inner Conviction Keystone. This nifty passive gives us more spell damage for each power charge. Big. Fortunately, we can ignore the downside of this keystone. Normally, it would replace our frenzy charges with power charges, but since our boots simply set our frenzy charges to max, we're not technically gaining them, so we get to keep our frenzy charges too. So what else have we got going for us? The Algor Mortis gloves increase lightning damage against chilled enemies. If we slap those on, we can use Vortex to easily chill enemies around us, even assigning the skill to left click so we can cast frequently without worrying about it. The build also makes good use of Pain Attunement, the keystone which increases damage while on low life. We're reserving almost all of our health with auras to achieve this. We have a smart way to make this work defensively, which we'll talk about soon. The most important investment in this build is with our flasks. We need permanent uptime on the Vessel of Vincta so we can shock things, so we'll go ahead and grab all the flask sustain we can on our gear and on the tree. More importantly, and this is partly the reason we picked the Raider Ascendancy, we use the Forbidden Flame and Forbidden Flesh unique dual combo to sneak in Nature's Boon. This Pathfinder Ascendancy passive, with its flask charge generation, gives us the extra sustain we need to keep our flasks going forever. Every flask is crafted with the Instilling mod that reuses it at the end of each use. You know those drinking hats with beer piped directly into the mouth? That's us, with all our flasks. Now the big question, how do we stay alive? Since we already have permanent flask uptime, we can rely on our flasks for resistances and a variety of other defensive boosts. Most importantly, Coruscating Elixir is used to prevent chaos damage from going through our energy shield. This is what allows us to reserve all of our life safely, instead relying on energy shield and evasion to keep us kicking. Keen-eyed players may be wondering how this build solves its electrical hazard problem. We've invested heavily in shock effectiveness for more damage, but unfortunately we're shocking ourselves. This is not a recommended Rayclass safety procedure. However, Replica Winterheart is here to save the day. This handy bit of insulation makes us unaffected by shock, but still allows us to proliferate our shocks at full strength to nearby enemies. More generally, we invest in evasion and spell suppression, relying on big bonuses from the Raider Ascendancy. Ghost Dance and Ghost Reaver are also taken as powerful defensive keystones. With such high damage, we can make great use of Energy Shield Leech. This build is an exciting application of a new skill, using and abusing all kinds of mechanics to cast Lightning Conduit with reckless abandon. It's complex, it takes a while to get going, but when it does, you get to feel like a true god of lightning. Thanks to ABCkid for their contribution. Make sure to check out their build guide and video, linked below, for more detailed information. If you want to look like a god of lightning, here's all the MTX we used in this video. See you next time!